What's up? Welcome back. Glad to see you again. Well, I can't really see you because I'm a blind film critic, but people say that. Uh, it's just because I assume that you're going to click subscribe. So, like, we're going to have this relationship back and forth, and you'll get to know me, and I'll get to know you, and you'll watch my reviews, and it's like like a lifelong friendship. It's already starting. It's already. How are your kids? How's How's the spouse? How are we doing here? How's that? How's your marriage? Is it good? Is it good? Okay. Um, Sorry to hear about your cat. See, I already know so much about you. Anyway, this is Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. Um, I feel like if I'm gonna review something this ridiculous, I can be ridiculous. So, yeah. Uh, it's on Paramount Plus, and it has audio description, and it's directed by Stephen Cable Jr. Whatever the guy that directed Creed 2. He's definitely proving himself to be a solid director. I'm worried that he's not finding his voice, that he's becoming the guy that comes in after someone else and just kind of is able to mimic a style. So, like, if a director leaves a franchise, you just hire him and he comes in and he's like, yeah, I can pretty much copy that and keep it looking good. We're not going to see a dramatic drop in quality from me. So, I'd really love to see more of his own stuff. But, c'est la vie. In this film, basically what this film is that the Care Bears and the Care Bear cousins have to team up to keep the film's trans MacGuffin from falling into the hands of Tyrion Lannister, who plans to use it for nefarious deeds. That's the skinny on the film, but unfortunately we have to start off with the humans. Anthony Ramos is human number one, and he has a brother. It's not really said, but I think his brother probably has sickle cell anemia. I can't imagine another reason why you would need to actually say the word sickle cell when talking to your brother about his clear medical condition that he suffers from, and they tries to take his little brother to the doctor, and the doctor's like, you're behind, you owe us money, and we can't. Everybody in this world is really mean to these people. And he can't catch a break in life. He used to be a soldier. This takes place in the 90s. It does reference the fact that Bumblebee exists, although I question how we get to Shia LaBeouf's Transformers from here. So I don't know if we've rebooted with Bumblebee and now we're just going to rewrite over from going from here forth. There's something that happens at the end of the film that I can't spoil for you that really, if we greenlight more Transformers films, it's dramatically going to change the face of Transformers to where I don't think the first 5 films can exist. I'm not sure that they can exist anymore if they go with their little hint at the end of the film, which probably is the most exciting thing about this film, is their little, like, suggestion as to what they might be doing next. But instead of Anthony Ramos and his little brother, who actually have decent chemistry, and we spend some time developing that, doing anything together, we have to watch Anthony Ramos go do things like try to steal a car. He tries to get a job from this guy who's like, I can't have anybody like you screwing up my job. White people in this are terrible. It's one of those films. We make a lot of films now where non-white people are constantly oppressed by white people who are like the worst white people ever. And it's like, yes, I know I'm one of those rarities. I'm a middle-aged male white critic on YouTube. There just are not enough of me. We're just underrepresented, clearly. It's just an underrepresented value. But this kind of message is starting to kind of have a little bit of like that, oh, we're doing this again. And it's, I don't know that it really helped the characters. I don't know that it really needed it. Like, he goes in for a job, and the guy has to be even more, uh, you know, he's more douchey, presumably because he's white. And I think even the doctor, like, he keeps butting heads with people who are assholes, but I think it's from a very specific perspective. And at the same time, we also have Dominique Fishback, who is the other lead in the film, who does not know Anthony Ramos at all, who is basically, she just carries this woman's dry cleaning around. It seems to be her only job. She works for a museum on Ellis Island. I guess there's a museum on Ellis Island. Anyway, she works there, and her boss is, condescending and sounds really, really like probably white. I'm just gonna go with that. So it's like this recurring theme, but we're so lucky that these two team up to save the world, even though everybody else has been mean to them. I think that's what we're supposed to learn from this. I kind of, it kind of got lost on me because in the same universe, they're following the sequel where where Haley Steinfeld was the lead with Bumblebee. So I don't know what happened between Haley Steinfeld being the hero of the story to these two people are hitting brick walls built by white people, which I know is valid, but it's also not a unique storyline anymore because we see it all the time in other stories now. Like I Am a Virgo on Amazon, watching that right now, and it has a lot of the similar themes, and it just works better that than it does in here. It kind of feels like they set it up and they don't really do anything with it, because at a certain point we don't really need any extra humans. There are no extraneous humans that are needed. There's no John Turturro that flies in out of nowhere who's like, "Whoa, guys, what's up? I'm from the government." It's really just Anthony Ramos and Dominique Fishback, because, Anthony can't be running around with his sick brother, even though that would be way more interesting than Dominique Fishback, who he has no connection to, but she can read runes. So that's why we need Dominique Fishback. She finds this key that was lost many generations of Transformers ago that is now on Earth, and if it falls into the wrong hands, like I said, bad things happen, and the Care Bears and the Care Bear cousins here are the ones that are looking out of this. So, I'm going to use that a lot, because it really feels that way, that we're using the Care Bear and the Care Bear cousin logic here. I know I'm shitting all over the people who loved Beast Wars as a kid. I didn't grow up with Beast Wars. I'm sorry, that was a little bit past my time. I'm a little bit too old for that shit. My Transformers were normal, and they were all vehicles. But they were all cars. You know that? Like, when I grew up, Transformers were cars, mostly. They were like various forms of cars. I didn't have a boat. It was a Transformer. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have a plane. It was a Transformer. They actually remark on Mirage, who's voiced by Pete Davidson in this film, who I think that tells you all you need to know about Mirage. It's not that bad, but it is a Pete Davidson performance. So if Pete Davidson annoys the hell out of you, they hired him to be him, and he's just reading the lines as Pete Davidson. So, but there is one of Scourge's. Well, that's Tyrion Lannister, by the way. His character, it's Peter Dinklage, not Tyrion Lannister. One of Tyrion Lannister's, I should just keep saying Tyrion Lannister, one of his henchmen can fly. And they're like, they can fly now? Like, so to all of the other Transformers, flying is not a possibility. That signals to me that I'm right in my assumption that for some reason they can only turn with cars. So there's an entire race of these guys that can turn into cars. However, it is like the Care Bear cousins, because when we see the Care Bear cousins come in, they're all different sorts of like mechanical animals. I don't know how else to say that. They're giant robots shaped like animals. So, but different animals. So they can all turn into different animals. So they do have them that can fly, or they could be a gorilla. Just kind of depends on what it is that they feel like being, and they're called technically called Maximals, which sounds stupid. I'm sorry, I can't get past that. It just sounds, because the moles part, like, if that's their alien species, alien race, it's a hybrid of animals. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's us putting Max in front of it, and instead of having animals, they're Maximals. It just sounds like animals that leveled up. You know, animals with superpowers or something. That's what it sounds like. It's the dumbest name for anything ever, possibly. Especially considering that they could have come up with pretty damn near anything. And Tyrion's things are not referenced as being evil moles or something like that, where they're like, we're kind of like animals, but we're evil, you know. Like, it's nothing like that. So why do they have to be Maximals? Anyway, this is just, and of course there's an Optimus Primal. When I heard that, I hit my head against a wall. It just, why? He's like, it's to honor the great Optimus Prime, and it's like, this film, I wanted to like this film a lot. It's not bad. It's better than The Last Night. I've already debated this film with some people, and we can all cohesively agree that this one was better than The Last Night. At least that, solidly, for sure. The Last Night is terrible and should never be watched by anybody. This has redeeming parts. It's kind of fun. It's also really silly. I mean, it's really silly. I almost to the point where I think they probably could have done something sort of like what Ninja Turtles is doing, where they're doing animated films, or they're saving on budget and releasing animated. I don't know that this needed to be live action. This could have been like a really dope animated film. It feels so silly, and I don't know what's up with the choices in this film. Optimus Prime is a dick. Before, Optimus Prime was like, yes, I'm here, and I have wisdom, and I know things. And in this film, he's like, we're not using humans, they're stupid. You know, I mean, he's just like, it's just a very different Optimus Prime. The voice work is fine from all the other, got like Ron Perlman and Michelle Yeoh, and Coleman Domingo plays Unicron. And I was like, isn't that a My Little Pony character? Is there like a Unicron? Yeah, so, I don't know what to do with this film. I know it's the IP. It's like trying to make an IP out of something that was already kind of silly, and then trying to explain it and make it work for live action audiences. And Transformers work. It was kind of hard to do that to begin with, but actually Michael Bay's first film is decent. He actually kind of brought it in, made it work. The action is there. It's just he started making sequels, and they started kind of doing that MacGuffin thing where they're kind of searching for something random, you know, and something ancient, and they're trying to tie it into history, and then that kind of became every single film where and for some reason, they always need a human, and I don't know really why they need humans. You know, there's nothing. They're fighting giant robots. Most of the time, I'm worried that Anthony Ramos and Dominic Fishback are going to get stepped on. And literally, there's at least one point where one of the good guys actually basically has to sacrifice his life to save the humans. And you know, because obviously he's a giant hunk of metal that can take a shot, but if Anthony Ramos were to take that shot, this film wouldn't have a PG-13 rating. So he would explode just everywhere. Blood guns, just like landmine, just everywhere. So yeah, it's I don't think this film really answered why these guys need to come along. Basically, Dominic Fishback reads runes, and Anthony Ramos tried to steal Mirage, and now Mirage likes him. That's why they're here. It's really thin. But then again, I don't know that Shia LaBeouf's reasoning for ever being anywhere was really great either. So I don't know if we've ever come up with great reasons for humans to be in these films. Maybe we should just make a film where there are no humans, or they definitely don't go out and do combat. They're not running around with the Transformers around them. Just let Transformers be Transformers. I don't know. But this was kind of childish, surprisingly more entertaining than it has a right to be. It makes some bold choices in putting Transformers in mortal jeopardy, which I feel like the other franchises haven't dared to do what this one does in terms of the amount of characters that die or could be dead. The difference between those two is very thin. And just the action is well described. The narration here is really good. So there's stuff to like here. Without making fun of Tyrion anymore, Peter Dinklage's performance is great. It's still Peter Mullen as Optimus Prime, and he's great. I didn't hate Pete Davidson, but it's very Pete Davidson. It's just like there's no acting to it. I feel like he's just not trying. Whereas I feel like everybody else is trying to give some sort of a performance. I just think Pete Davidson, they hired him and they're like, just be you, bro. And he was like, all right, I got this. I'll just be me, but a Transformer. And Mirage is now basically the Bumblebee. Bumblebee is very much not a major part of this film. I will leave it at that. So, anyway, if you like Transformers movies a lot, to the point where where you could say that you've enjoyed all of them, you'll enjoy this one, because again, this is not the worst Transformer movie. It's not the best. I think we did something really interesting with Bumblebee, and then we came back to this, and we decided to bring in these Care Bear cousins who bring up a lot of questions. If they can be all of these different animals, why can't the Transformers be anything but cars and trucks? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are they all vehicles? Why can't they transform into anything else? Also, what is going to be the Transmorphers sequel to this? Because we haven't seen the Transmorphers in a while. I'm just going to let that joke go. Apologize for that one. For anybody who got it, you'll let me know whether or not you thought that landed. That's it. I can't. There's nothing really else I can say about the film. It was maybe better than I thought it was going to be, considering I hate 5. 4 is disappointing. 3 and 2 are like I mean, there's an odd amount of debate as to whether or not 3 is better than 2. I don't think there's really like a massively noticeable difference between the two to me. I didn't really hate 2, and then 3 came along and kind of felt like it was a lot like 2, but neither of them are 1. And it took a while till we got to Bumblebee, when I actually felt some sort of excitement about watching a Transformers film. So this is not Bumblebee. So, and my whole point about the Yeah, I get it. It's tough to not be white in this world, but it also has no relevance beyond the establishment of the characters. Who it's like, thank God they step up to save the world. Basically, that's the thing. They're like Anthony Ramos is like, this is my world, so I'm gonna save it. And it's like, oh well, after all of the bad things that's happened to him in life and all the people who have been mean to him, it's so nice for him to go save the world. At the same time, is he really saving with these giant fucking robots that could step on him at any moment in time? How much is he really contributing? And that's what the script is trying to justify. But it doesn't really tie back into the whole, he doesn't get that like fuck you moment to all the people in the end, that counted him out. The film isn't really interested in that. He doesn't go back in with like tons of money and buy the company that turned him down for a job. Like that would have been great. Like let's rein it back in. You know, you want to use that as a model. Have Anthony Ramos buy the company, since Mirage's offer was to use him to to keep selling him as a car until you have enough money to just buy things. And then Anthony Ramos can just go buy that company, and Dominique Fishback, I don't know, promote her over the lady that she worked for, and then she can hand her the dry cleaning. It's just, let's do something with it. But at the beginning, it's just like, nah, life is hard. White people suck. And Anthony Ramos and Dominique Fishback are going to save the day. Be lucky for them. Thank them. And we're not going to ever come back to any of those themes. We're not going to tie it back in. We're just going to leave it there. And but what we are going to do is we're going to drop a little nugget at the end of this film that's going to break the internet. Hopefully. If we do it just right, we'll break the internet. So, yeah, I'm not spoiling that for you. You can look it up if you want, but I kind of want people to watch the film, and then you can figure out who lives, who dies, and all that nonsense. So, Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. Like I said, it's better than 4 and 5. It's about where 2 and 3 are for me. I'm gonna give it a B minus. Stephen Cable Jr. still is a really good director, and he does a lot with the action sequences. And I'm trying not to hit the franchise for the silliness of the IP that it's adapting. If somebody tried to make like a really serious Strawberry Shortcake film, I'm not going to sit here and be like, this makes no sense. There's so many people who are like, Barbie is dumb. It's like, well, okay, so they took a toy, but what did they do with it? Is it interesting? Is it fun? You can't just say like you hate the thing and you think it's stupid, and you're gonna hold it against the entire movie. So even though I think Maximals are stupid, I didn't factor that into my grading. This is legitimately what I feel like when I take the concept of what these things are, knowing that is how they're introduced in Beast Wars. It's dumb, but that's not factored into my grade, which is why it's a B minus. I can't hold the IP against the film. In that the film is what it is. So, and it's as good as 2 and 3. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And let me know what you think about Rise of the Beast. If I just insulted your entire childhood because Beast Wars was your favorite thing ever, that's valid. I'm sure there are things that I liked as a kid that people would be like, if that was adapted into a film, and it would make no sense. I haven't seen that yet. I feel like they made Rescue Rangers happen in a really fantastic way, and that was something that came out of my childhood. So I haven't had that experience yet. And like I said, old school Transformers, the first film was fine, so you can do stuff with it. But yeah, it's just weird. Maximals, really? Anyway, thanks for watching. You can go to my website, macmovieguy.com. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or Threads at MacTheMovieGuy. You can go to the audio description project, adp.acb.org. It'll let you know what has audio description, where you can watch it, and you can go to the ADNA.org. That's the ADNA.org. And you can see who's narrating your favorite films and television series there. That's it for me. I'll review something else and see you guys on the other side.